To some regional politics now. Let's start in Staten Island. On Friday, the Richmond County DA, Dan Donovan, announced that he would seek the GOP nomination for that special election to replace Congressman and admitted felon Michael Grimm. Donovan, of course, the prosecutor in the Eric Garner chokehold case, which ended with no criminal charges from the grand jury that Donovan led. Now, that connection could explain why the candidacy was announced in a written statement late Friday, a move typically reserved for stories you don't want to get widespread attention. On a related note, Staten Island Assemblywoman Nicole Malliotakis, that was close enough, has announced that she will not seek the GOP nomination for that seat, clearing the way for Donovan. Tom, I'm seeing like the air traffic controllers. Well, what's good and what's not out of that for the GOP?
Well, I mean, Donovan's going to win the race, but the sad part was Malliotakis is not. She won by 73%. She is not a party insider. She is Cuban, Greek. She would have been phenomenal for that seat for a bigger picture in New York State as someone to run, down the road. So that's a little bit sad that happened. But if the dominoes fall, Lanza could possibly run for the Donovan DA seat. It could open up a state Senate seat for Malliotakis.
I mean, it strikes me like it's a good move in the short sight for the GOP. They're going to win the seat. Donovan's probably the hands-down favorite to win that race in the special election. I think it hurts the overall image both of the party and especially in the city of New York. We were talking before about what might happen, with more protests. If you get the guy who did not get an indictment in the Garner case, who's successfully running for Congress, or even just becomes the nominee for the Republican Party, that may touch off reactions in New York and around the country. I don't think it helps the GOP's image in the era of Steve Scalise talking to.
If you allow it to hurt the image, the fact is that you've had 179 of these cases, these type of incidences with police over the last 15 years. You've had 3 indictments. They have crossed Democrat, African American, white. Listen, there's still the fact is that if you want change, you need systematic change. You've had 179, 3 indictments. Except they don't have those indictments. I
don't want to relitigate it, but the question, the open-ended question was, could they have pursued a lesser included charge than what they possibly pursued? And what we've heard is that they were going for charges they never would have gotten the conviction. But my only question, Tom, is it always seems the Democrats, they really want to go with a Brooklyn Democrat. You can't win this seat from Brooklyn. I know there's not too many Democrats in Staten Island, but
Tom Doherty mentioned the dominoes, and in this one regard, he is correct. The dominoes have fell Donovan's way. But imagine this scenario. I just got to throw a little salt out there. Imagine if Donovan had got the indictment on Garner, and then he's going to turn around and run for Congress. Imagine that. It wouldn't have worked. Staten Island residents would have called him a traitor. That would have been the end of Donovan. So no indictment in Garner, and now you're moving on to Congress.
I'm going to try and move on next time before somebody else jumps in on that one.
We don't think like that.
Chris Christie, big Cowboy fan, and the New Jersey governor, his passion for his team on display yet again. This yesterday as the Cowboys lost in a tough one to the Packers. He, of course, was at the game here. Now, this is a week after that really tough scene where a hug or whatever it was, a misplaced bromance, I don't know, but he was in the box of owner Jerry Jones of the Cowboys. Thing went viral. And again here, his brother laid into Eagles fans for having any problems, let alone Giants fans, a lot of them obviously living in Jersey. Listen, I get to this, Jeannie, because part of you wants the candidate to be authentic. And I've always thought, and I've always debated this with Dom and others, they underestimate the talent of Chris Christie because he comes across as genuine. However, it didn't look really presidential, if you will, right, when he's doing this. And he desperately, obviously, wants to get in the field for 16. How do you view this? Does it make him more relatable? Or does it make him look more,
Quite frankly, I don't think it makes that much of a difference in the end. People won't remember it, come the election.
However, a lot of people who don't really follow this stuff, and they do watch football on Sundays. And he's been the storyline for the last 2 Sundays here, even for the casual political fan.
Some people will give him credit for sticking with his boyhood team regardless, but I think the worst part is, and I know Tom's going to disagree with me, are these contracts with the Port Authority. That's where this stuff gets messy for somebody like Chris Christie. Forget pictures of him awkwardly hugging people. That's where it gets messy. And I think if anything comes of that, that's the kind of thing that would stick. Otherwise, it's not going to stick.
It's a contract with Jerry Jones's firm, among others, including the Yankees, to run, I think, the concession stand at the observation deck at the New World Trade Center. That's a Port Authority property, and Christie obviously has some say and apparently pushed for that contract to go to that firm.
And heaven forbid they push for the New York Yankee Jerry Jones company, that is an outstanding company to do good work for the people of New York. My point is that you raise this as an issue. It doesn't look presidential. Was Bill Clinton on the Arsenio show playing the saxophone presidential? I mean, this is preposterous.
Why wasn't it presidential?
I don't know if it was or not. He was elected president. Christie was elected governor of a Democratic state
But
twice.
Christie wasn't side-hugging Arsenio in a sort of flailing around kind of way and being ignored.
Do we want to go what he was doing? I mean, the point is that, come on. I mean, look, we're going to have primaries. We're going to talk about real issues, and people are going to make a determination of whether or not they like the person, whether or not he can be president of the United States, whether he hugged Jerry Jones or not. Look, I'm a better hugger than that. You know, I'd grab him around and I'd give him a big like that. Way to go, Giants.
My only point is,
I'd give him a giant hug. I mean, it was a bad hug.
This stuff. We follow the bridge gates. We follow all this stuff. But somebody out in middle America who really doesn't follow, A, maybe the political scene, certainly in our neck of the woods, or B, they're getting an introduction to the guy one way or the other.
But look at his polling in Republican primary votes. He's right under Jeb Bush. He's right there. So we keep saying how bad he's doing, and every single poll out there, he's at the top of the poll.
Christie's a presidential candidate?
All right.
By the way, considering the grief he got from hugging Obama,
You're gonna like
maybe
this one,
Christie
Andrew.
shouldn't hug people anymore.
See, that could be. He doesn't hug like me.
I don't
I'm
have
a
time for the
hugger.
casinos, right? I don't. Okay. Tomorrow we'll get into the casinos because magically we're going to get a fourth casino in New York. It's just funny how that all
Well, you
works
need
out
one in
here.
the southern tier.
Okay,
You
here we
definitely
go.
need one in the
They're
southern
fracking for
tier.
a casino.
That's a good
Coming
one.
up next, football fans, count myself among them. We are going to be watching the first football championship, at least for D1 tonight here. The question is, well, don't you do the snoring routine on me on that one. Do the academics get in the way for the top athletes? Jeannie, college professor Jeannie, we're going to wait on that when we come back.